I'm gonna get real into cold medicines, dude. Catch me fucking robo-tripping on the next episode. Just
Fuck yeah. Some triple C's.
Oh man, triple C's.
Like, we need a good, like, black metal. Like, even if it's, like, some free shit. Like, we need a good war music.
A free black metal song.
Some
free use.
What if we could just get some, like, shitty YouTube war drum loop?
I'll take it. Welcome to the TrashCats TrashCast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we unite the TrashCats under the banner of war.
We had a whole podcast prepped about the commodification of art and manipulating the art markets. But we said fuck it and decided now is finally the time to go to war. This is the TrashCats' Great Holy War.
Fuck yeah.
We're gonna go to war with another podcast. Today we pick our target.
Yeah, we don't know who yet.
But we're dedicating the next year of this podcast to just fucking with another podcast we don't like. And today we're gonna pick our victim and figure out our war plan. It's gonna be intense. This is our great holy war. We're gonna come out victorious with the help of our trash cats, and it should be a good, fun, chill time.
Listen, we're moving on about 3 years into this. If you include all of the the prepping time when we first started and everything, and like from the beginning of when we started doing this, we're about 3 years in, and we got a little something going, but
got a little something. But frankly, we're failing.
Yeah,
and
so it's time. It's make or break time, and we're ready for fucking war.
We're gonna bite someone's style, steal their hype, and absorb their audience in the meantime. So
yeah, and then once we're done with that one, we move on to the next one.
Cannibalize our next victim. Yes, yeah, obviously. It's gonna do big things, big stuff. We're gonna make it fun and also try to destroy everything they've worked so hard to build. But first, we were born to hate and we're driven by spite, and we're gonna put it to good use. But
Hail
first,
Satan!
How was your week?
My week was fucking wild.
You told I got a hint, a little whiff, but I don't know what's been going on.
So it's been a fun, most of the week's been fine. Saturday was a real fun time. So we've had some schedule changes at work lately, and we are short some people, and we had to let somebody go. So we had to adjust some shifts around, and most of them were fine. Most days were cool. This last Saturday I had forgotten about, and it was just me by myself at one of our busiest markets. Granted, it's later in the season, and it was, we weren't really expecting it to be crazy, but of course, the weather was really nice, so it popped off a little bit.
Get slammed.
Yeah, so it was pretty busy, but I'm really good at what I do, so I held it down for the most part. But this fucking market, it's Eastern Market in Detroit, if anyone knows the area a little bit, it's, artsy-fartsy kind of a farmer's market.
And you're giving up your location. That, I can tell you're confident.
Oh, very. So the shit we put up with when we go to an event where we don't have control over the surroundings, it's usually like there's, different people playing music, like busking for money and shit like that. So usually there's two different artists that are down there, and they're at separate time slots. In the morning, there's this couple that plays bluegrass music, and they have about maybe an hour-long set, and then they just cycle it over again. So you still hear the same, hour-long set a couple of times in that period, but it's just for a few hours, and it's not so bad.
Are they any good? Because bluegrass,
no,
there's some good stuff. But
well, I definitely had the thought during where you can't just play a fiddle shitty and say that it's country music. It's not good.
Is it folk singing or is it?
Yeah.
Like, are they doing like bluegrassy stuff?
I've heard bluegrass music that I enjoy. That's the thing. Like I've heard, like I'm not big into country. I'm not big into like I like some of the instrumental shit, especially a banjo. A banjo sounds good. We've discussed this before.
It's like a sick guitar.
That's like episode 4. Go back and listen to Seinfeld's banjo if you want to hear my thoughts on that.
Good memory.
Yeah, but it felt like a 4. So they were playing in the morning, and usually around like lunchtime ish, there like noon or so, there's another guy that comes in. I call him Mr. Bojangles because this guy comes out and he has 4 songs that he plays on repeat, and it's Mr. Bojangles, The Candyman Can, Hello Detroit, and some other fucking song that I don't know the name of. Oh no! And he does like old live recordings of these songs from like the 50s and 60s and shit, and dances, like dresses up in like, you know, like he's Sammy Davis Jr. and fucking dances along to him and lip syncs to it. It's really bad.
That's rough.
But he just does the same 4 songs over and over and over and over again. And it's brutal.
Yeah, holy fuck.
So today of all day, or, you know, that day of all days, the bluegrass band didn't stop playing when he got there. They just kept going. And so I had on one corner, you know, maybe about 30 to 40 feet away from me, I have this bluegrass band playing. And then maybe about, you know, 70 to 80 feet away on the other corner of this block, I have this guy doing the fucking Mr. Bojangles shit. And I'm losing my goddamn mind. So I put on my own music. I usually don't when I'm down there because it's like, you don't want to hear 2 songs over top of each other.
Yeah.
But I already had that going, so I thought, okay, if I can just play something that's loud enough to drown them out.
Make it a triptych.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just fuck around and find out. So I played some Mastodon, and that made life a little bit better. Meanwhile, while in the morning, usually everyone's set up down there by like 9 o'clock. That's just like the food trucks, like all of them set up around that time. This fucking dickhead that runs this other truck comes in, and he always shows up late. He's got a loud ass fucking generator, and he's got to pull it in with, it's like a trailer, so it's not a truck. So he pulls it in with his truck, and he's like honking at customers that are like already sitting down at like the tables that are set out, like enjoying their food, like honking at them to move so that he can pull his truck in, like not getting out and saying like, hey, sorry, you know, I got to pull in here. Is it cool if you, he's just honking at them. And it's a real dick move. Like these are customers that like paid me money for like my product, and they're sitting down in front of my truck and he's beeping at them. So he finally gets his shit in. He puts up a bunch of tents, like takes up the whole fucking block, and he's playing like mariachi music and shit out of his truck. So like that on top of the bluegrass and on top of homeboy with the Mr. fucking Candyman Can over here are driving me buck wild. And I managed to hold it down for a good while, and finally my boss ended up sneaking out of his shift, and he came down and helped me out, which was great because it was just in time for a little rush. But dude, it was so much. It was like, did they realize that I was by myself and they wanted to gang up on me? Is this proof that God is real and he hates me?
Just musically assaulted.
Oh, dude, it was awful.
You just remind this quick aside. I want to do an episode about, we've done it a little bit with the actual torture stuff, but the weaponization of music, because there's been national headlines lately about gas stations using classical music to drive away the riffraff. Have you seen that?
No.
But that's something Cincinnati has done for the last decade. Like, since we were teenagers, there's always been certain gas stations or, like, Walgreens or whatever that blast Beethoven and whatever to, like, drive off, like, hood shit. But this month, there's been a couple national newspapers making a deal about it that I thought was pretty interesting. So I'd love to dive into that kind of sound wave assault that you were caught in the crosshairs of.
Yeah, dude, I would love to recreate it for you if I can, but it's a bad time.
I would struggle to be in that environment.
I mean, obviously, I made it out alive and I'm here, but it was more of a challenge than I anticipated. And it was mostly because of those outside sources.
Yeah. But you're all that much ready for war now. Too.
Yeah, exactly. My blood is boiling and I'm fucking ready for it.
Hell yeah.
And I'm sick, but
You're getting better.
I'm getting better.
I can tell you're still feeling it. Like, just, you can hear it a bit.
Yeah. How was your week?
It's been okay. I had a day off, which helped a lot. But I do you reminded me while talking, I had a couple interesting run-ins with my neighbors, right?
Oh, yeah?
So where I live is really close to Superhood shit, but it's slightly removed. But normally there's like
hood adjacent.
Very hood adjacent. There's all the drug dealers come here because it's not at their house to do quick licks, and there's the nighttime prostitution, all that cool stuff. No problems for the most part. But the houses on either side of us, one's abandoned right now, and there's been a lot of break-ins. And the other one is this old lady that's very sweet. And despite her being like 80-something years old, she takes out my trash every week. Where she won't let me touch her cans, and she refuses to let me do my own trash. Where, like, it's been an ongoing thing where I feel bad like she might fall one of these days.
Have you watched her do it? Are you sure she's not going through the trash?
I'm sure. She's sweet. She's a little wackerdoodles, but she's very sweet. But I am worried like she'll get hurt. But we have a really good rapport. She gives me she has a friend that is a music reviewer, so she gives us all these albums every week of like old classical music and just random shit. She's really cool. But the other house that's abandoned is being they can't keep tenants. There's just been all this like just really rough, like there was the cockfighting family with their friends that slaughtered the pigs, and then we got some meth heads, and then we got some new white trashy people that were abusing their kids. They got kicked out, and then now it's empty again, right? Clean slate. It's been nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. So now there's a contractor renovating it, which is like, all right, that's good. Mm-hmm. They make a little noise, but it's cool. Well, I'm doing some yard work this weekend, and I meet the contractor. Now, if ever in my life there was a time I wish I was recording, it was this conversation. So, I don't want to get into all of the details, but I'll put it this way. Best case scenario, he's a very perverted nudist.
Oh.
Worst case scenario is he is a very devious pedophile.
Oh, fun.
And I have no idea which. But he's around, so that's interesting.
Was he like full in the nude?
No, but he said sometimes he has his kids work nude, which obviously is not acceptable, and I haven't seen that happen, but it would be a problem if I do.
Yeah.
But he brought up sex to me at least 5 times in the first conversation I've ever had with him.
Oh,
like within
cool.
5 minutes, he talked about sex like in multiple different ways, like early sex experiences, his nudist experience. It's just very strange. Very strange.
Wow.
And I don't want to go into too much, but something that you would bring, like, it's one of those things like where you float in a conversation to test the other person's boundaries.
Yeah.
Where, like, if I would have been into whatever, I feel like it could have, like, really been some wild
It would have opened up a lot more doors.
Yeah. Very disturbing. Very interesting, but not cool. But then that same day, the nice neighbor, the good neighbor, she has cats, and she told me her cat is dying, and she asked me to dig a cat grave.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm probably going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
that would be a kindness to her, I'm sure.
Not help. Yeah, but Fuck, man. It was a lot for one day.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. That's a fucking... what a day.
It was a lot.
I got call out of work for that one. Boss, I got a lot on my plate. I got a lot to process over here.
What are you dealing with? I just got to think about something.
Yeah, I got to think about it.
But, you know, I feel like we could do honorable mentions, but I'm feeling like we shouldn't honor anyone.
We are the honorable mention.
Yeah, we don't need to praise anyone else on the eve of war.
Yeah.
So...
we honor ourselves.
Here's what I propose.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of joked about doing this a while back, and we're kind of doing it in jest, but I also legitimately am a hateful person, and I am, in fact, driven by spite. And what I propose is we pick a target that we're actually motivated to pursue and go after, so it feels like a true holy war, like we get something out of it, where it's not just like we want to beef with a random podcast. We want it to be someone I think that we're ideologically opposed to, so we're motivated, and they have to have the right size following and clout. Like, we got to punch up.
Yeah, we got to punch up, but not too high up.
Not too high up. We're not idiots. We might be dumb, but we're not idiots. So I think... So what I'm proposing is we figure out our war plan, which would be choosing the right podcast based on the right criteria, and then figuring out what our methods and war plan would be. And I will say, I do have my copy of The Art of War opened up.
Oh, good.
In case we need a little guidance by Sun Tzu to help us figure out our battle plan. So, how do we want to start? Because we thought about getting this all together ahead of time, but then I also think documenting the process itself will be fun.
Yeah, agreed. I think... I mean, how do we, I guess if we have to look for a target first, and like, we have to figure out what we are, and then what would be, directly opposed to that. Obviously, a good place to start in that case is anything religion-based.
So let's go like full abstract. I think you had a great point. We've said it many times, like knowing the whole point of life is knowing who you are and how you die. So let's start like what we are, and then we can define our target based on the antithesis. So what the fuck is the TrashCats? We've done this for 2 years.
Critical.
We just doing adjectives?
I'm throwing out word vomit.
I'm with you. This is art class critique style.
Critical, logical, but that's not entirely true because it's
emotional, hatred,
hyperbolic.
For you, I'm very literal.
In my opinion, it's hyperbolic.
Art, like
I mean blasphemous.
Yeah, so creative, destructive, bad at typing.
I'm trying to think of from an outside perspective, someone who is
atheist
would not consider us to be like cool people they want to hang out with. What would they think of our podcast?
Far leftist freaks. Yeah. I mean, we definitely fit the like realm of blue hair leftist and atheist communist.
Yeah.
We're in that realm.
We do. We speak on behalf of.
We're rebels.
I mean, I guess that's a different thing. I was thinking of like, let's think of like, I'm thinking of words that are like I think are compliments. And I was like, oh, let me think from an outside perspective. What would a really critical critique of us look like? And it's like, no, these are still things that I would consider compliments coming from someone who doesn't like us.
Well, you know, I would say we're pretty cool guys.
Yeah. So we need to look, whatever podcast we look for has to be a couple of real fucking nerdos.
Well, I honestly was
couple
thinking
of not
about,
cool dudes.
like, what if we get real reckless and come out of like left field and attack something almost random, like a random video game thing, or like something that like we don't even disagree with, but we just come out rowdy on.
So we have to force a position on something. I mean, I think that would be. I think that would be more fun because that would like.
But we
could get serious about it, but it would still be embedded in jest. To where it's not like we are making enemies, but we are definitely instigating, a fan base.
But I think we need something at stake to keep us motivated. Like, we don't want this to go south, and I think we should assess our vulnerabilities and what's at risk or whatever. But I want something to be at stake where, like, ideally, like, best case scenario, it's some random Christian pastor who depends on his podcast profits each month to feed his church. Like, I want his flock to starve. I want to be able to take something from someone else. I don't want to like hurt some random gamer's YouTube channel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's got to be something we feel passionate about, but maybe not too passionate, because this is going to be a beef that boils on the back burner. Like, we'll probably give it a good first wave attack and then just keep needling, I think we know ourselves a bit. What is our target?
I mean, based on what we have written, in a logical, God-fearing, right-winged,
yes, great,
not very cool guys.
Gotcha. A logical, right-wing, God-fearing, not cool.
Not cool.
They're probably stupid.
They're probably stupid people.
So what comes to mind, like first impressions for me, is like a Russell Brand, or maybe a Tucky Carlson.
Oh man, is Russell Brand a right-wing, God-fearing? I mean, he's a not cool guy, but
he claims not to be right wing, but he overlaps a lot. But he's equally as lefty, but he's gone like full anti-establishment. Pharmaceutical companies are the devil, conspiracy theory shit. He probably overlaps more on the right than the left. But
I put him in the same box that I put Johnny Depp in. It's like where he's like he would probably be cool, but he tries like super hard to be cool.
I don't know how much you've listened, but he has turned into one of the most dog shit voices with a large audience in the last couple of years. Like, he is actually incredibly destructive and bad. Like, if you hear someone that listens to them, that is someone you would never want to talk to. Like, actual bad people.
Here's a question.
Stupid.
Here's a question that I never thought I'd ever have to ask. Is Russell Brand too high above us?
Far too far. Far too. I mean, that's
maybe a couple years ago, but not now.
I mean, no. His audience is probably well over 100 million views a month. Easily.
Oh well, yeah, that's a lot.
Did you see Tucker tonight is interviewing a man who claims to have had a gay relationship with Obama and bought and smoked crack cocaine with him.
Oh.
And Tucker has fallen he was the biggest news show in the country, highest rated show in the country for multiple years. Now he has no platform. He's just doing his show on X and zeeting the video. And tonight, he has a man that 20 years ago claims to have had gay sex with Obama, and they're doing a full expose and interview on it.
Oh, boy.
Yep, that's
so
how
it's
far.
Like it turned into Howard Stern.
A much lower version.
Like without Howard Stern.
Yeah, at least Stern was
without
cool.
Howard Stern and Beetlejuice. Make it cool.
So, but I mean, that's kind of the type of character that I would feel incensed or passionate about attacking.
Now, I think the challenge in that is going to be if we actually intend to steal their viewership. I feel like we might get some people to listen to our show, but I can't imagine they're going to stick around.
No, honestly, this whole pursuit is probably going to be at our detriment.
Yeah, probably.
Unless they're bigger than us, and like, let's say it was like a red pill, like the male empowerment, like dating type shit, like those losers that hate women and are scared of everything. Yeah, those losers. There's some like possibility, like if we went after like a fresh and fit or whatever, I feel like we could win a very small percentage of audience. But realistically, whoever we're going at, we don't really have any chance of stealing their audience, but more have a chance of it becoming problematic to them, where it kind of signal boosts us to new audience. Like the Budweiser stuff with the beer can thing is a terrible example of like that working successfully. But a lot of companies now, the whole goal with their marketing is just to be problematic so you get attention via people's outrage. And to some extent, that's kind of like the realm that we're looking at. Like we want to actually give someone we disagree with a hard time, but the best case scenario is that the noise it makes gives us access to new people.
Okay, that's fair. Because
we won't be able to take such stupid listeners. And even if we could, why would we want them?
Yeah, that's very true. So here would be, I guess, another point. If, I mean, I'm definitely down to go after some alpha chads.
Yeah, sure.
That's not a bad, target to look for also.
First I park my car, then I fuck your bitch. Yeah. Base God.
Is that from a thing or you just make that up?
Oh my God, dude. Lil B, base God. Tiny pants, tiny shirt. Eat that wonton soup.
I forgot about Lil B.
Swag like Ohio. But yeah, I think that could be fun. They probably would put up a better fight. I think the hardest part for us realistically will be is finding the right target, because there's for YouTube and streaming shit, like there's websites like Social Blade where you can get their audience statistics and see views, average, trends, all that shit. But for podcasts, there's actually nothing public. Like you can get that information, but you have to pay a site or like a online media investigator. Like you can't just pull up all of someone's views for their podcast. So you have to go on ratings and like public info, like their social media followers. So you could see a podcast that looks really big or really small, and it actually is the opposite. It's really hard to know. So we have to do, I think our goal today is just to get it kind of narrowed down to like a realm or like a few creators, but then we will have to do some actual research to figure out who we actually invest this. Let me
throw this. I just had this thought. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the idea, if the ideal situation is going for a listener base and having them turn and be like, hey, actually, these guys might be onto something, or these guys are right, and then actively listening to us.
I don't think it'll work that way.
Well, let me to finish here, I think it could be possible if we go after a philosophy more based podcast, because when you get into that, you have people that listen that, I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are intelligent and that, are following and they have their own thoughts and think for themselves, and sure. But if they have a decent enough fan base, that means there's a high enough percentage of those people that are probably not thinking for themselves, just like most of the other, the alpha male podcasts and shit that we just talked about, that are just like, I'm here to listen and to learn from what they have to say. And if you come out and say, like, these people are wrong and here's why they're full of shit and this is better, then they might go, hey, maybe they're onto something.
For example, going after, let's say, an antinatalist community and getting the people in the middle.
Yeah.
I would like to point out Sun Tzu says, attack him where he is unprepared and appear where you are not expected. Like a ninja.
I think we would be most expected in the far right wing kind of community. I think would be more expected in the religious community. I think we would not be as expected to go after a fellow lover of philosophy.
I think that's interesting. I'm willing to play with that, but part of me does feel like going after one of these small religious podcasts could be our bread and butter.
I mean, we would definitely have a lot of ammo, but I think it would have to be small enough that they couldn't just dox us with, or ratio us with bad reviews.
See, but that's where I'm kind of two minds, because there's an element like that could likely happen regardless of what we go for, but it's possible that's what actually helps us.
Oh.
Like, depending on where that goes. You know what I mean?
And we pick a fight, we get a bunch of bad reviews. We go to Spotify and we say, hey, these people were bullying us.
Dude, it's a false flag. That's a psychological attack, a false flag. Like, imagine if we did pick a Russell Brand and we said a couple kind of benign mean things, and then he torched us for a week. That after that week, we would have a ton of random new supporters. There is an element of how you can false flag support. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If all of a sudden this Christian church podcast was destroying two random atheist dudes for a month, I think we would get the better end of that. If we had 10,000 negative reviews overnight, I guarantee we'd be better off than we are.
That's probably very true. Someone would notice. Someone's going to notice that.
It's all about the spin, baby.
That's a notification shows up on somebody's computer for that.
But I do like where you're thinking. Philosophy could be a good route. Oh, fuck. There's a couple philosophy podcasts I follow that are actually shit. And I listen to them because I like to disagree with them, but they actually are garbage. Something like that could be interesting, because they're also the type of people that every day post a new positive, uplifting message that's so fucking annoying. So fucking stupid.
Now, here's the other thing. Are we going straight for other podcasts, or are we open to YouTube channels?
I'm open, but if it's YouTube, I feel like it has to overlap. They have to be a YouTube that also does a podcast, or else it's probably not in our benefit too much, where I feel like the people that are solely video don't really care about the podcast realm because we're outdated. So I'm going to do this. I think we got to start browsing a bit. We know who we are. We know what we aren't and what would be a good target. We have a couple ideas philosophy, potentially, something like abstract art could be interesting, to relentlessly harass an abstract art podcast could be pretty fun. Like the Lovers of Abstract podcast.
Oh, yeah. You are absolutely right on that. We could fuck up some art people.
But I feel like that would be hard to stay passionate because also, like, as much as we hate abstract art, we kind of have, like, a soft spot for anything artsy. Mm-hmm. So it would be hard to, like, actually trash someone to the point where it's, like, hurtful to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With, like, some lame art nerds. So I feel like something philosophy or religion-y that we passionately disagree with would be a lot easier to stay engaged.
That's fair. Is there a podcast about NFTs?
There's tons, but I mean, I think that shows how much you don't know about the NFT.
I feel like it changes all the fucking time. I feel like the meta on is it okay and is it fun, is it cool, changes all the fucking time.
It's uncool right now, but there's literally there has to be more than 10,000 NFT podcasts. Easily.
Oh, well then, yeah. I mean, like, I don't listen to them. I don't fucking know.
Well, clearly.
Yeah. That you
I
tell
don't listen
me
to every
you do?
NFT podcast. That was a boom moment. You just boomed.
I just boomed.
Just boomed out over there.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like NFT people are the
bad.
boomers.
They are gross. My piece of art will cost 0.2 ETH.
Yeah.
So you shut the fuck up. It was made with an AI.
Yeah, someone put absolutely no effort into this. And
I'm going to sell it as a digital JPEG via a crypto coin that is breaking tax laws.
Yeah.
Cool, dude.
This will come back to haunt me.
There is a lot heating up with that right now, both the AI art world and NFT crypto shit, because a lot of people are getting charged for tax evasion right now. They're finally starting to pursue the more average crypto trader.
And nobody, not a single person, nobody saw it coming. Everyone thought that this is foolproof and clean and it's not ever gonna get hit with it.
If you were smart, I mean, there was a lot of money to be made. There were, I mean, great profit margins.
if you acted quick and you had the money to begin with to invest right away and move it right away, sure.
Yeah. So here, I'm going to do this way. Ooh, there's on Spotify, if you go to search, what is it? Search and then by genre. But also, like, the big ones come up, like, when you go that. So there is a way through, you can do new podcasts. If it was something new, but, like, most people that start a podcast, it's new, but they have a built-in audience. We're looking for somebody that gets thousands of plays, but not hundreds of thousands. So, like, a new podcast that's doing okay would be a really great way to go. Mm-hmm. Also, I think it would be so funny to go after someone that's on their third episode. Welcome to the podcast realm.
Can you imagine if we had been on our third episode and someone started shit with us?
Oh my god, it'd be so fun.
Do you think in that time when we were so vulnerable, do you think that would have deterred us?
I think it would have turned us on. I think we would have been.
It definitely would have activated a fight or flight.
Yeah, for sure.
It absolutely would have been.
But we're warriors.
Yeah. I think that would absolutely be ideal. Even that feels almost like punching down, but if they have a decent base already and they have less episodes than us.
Realistically, anyone we find is bigger than us.
Yeah, that's fair. That's like, fair. If we can find them.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
Hey, listen. There are several times when we've had dozens of listeners.
Oh, there's a whole Arab section. Why is that a podcast genre?
Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
That's new. That wasn't there a week ago.
Is it just like...
I don't know. It doesn't... The podcast it has isn't even Arab. I don't understand. It just seems weird that they have... Like, the cover is that DJ with the... Not Deadmau5, but some other Spanish DJ, I think.
The Bad Bunny? Isn't he a DJ?
I always forget.
I don't know his whole deal.
Apparently, he has better music sales than any U.S. artist. That's what I've heard.
Better than Taylor Swift?
I'm pretty sure, like, top in the world.
Let me tell you something I just heard about Taylor Swift. I guess amid all of the writers and SAG strikes and all that, there's not a lot going into movie theaters right now. And she, like, skipped production companies and whatever and has put out, like, a video, like, documentary of, like, the tour that she's on. And she's, like, working on going, like, directly to movie theaters and doing that. And it's sold out, like, immediately. Pre-sale tickets were, like, more than, like, Marvel, like, Endgame shit.
Sure. Like,
crazy sales. And what that could potentially mean for the future of, like, you know, of showing that, like, production companies don't need to exist to make these things happen, is pretty substantial.
Maybe. I mean,
it definitely, I'm sure, like, with the money to advertise and whatever, it helps, but
she's in a unique situation. Very few people go into putting out a film with that kind of a following. But to your point, during this strike, which I can't even get started about talking, because the strike is not what people think it is. And this is going to continue it is not close to wrapping up.
Right, yeah.
And both sides are being super fucking stupid. Because the people, I'm always going to root for the small guys. I want them to come out better for it. But in their own releases, they're like, hey, we're not getting paid enough, and these companies aren't making money. It's like all the companies they're striking against are in the negative. Like, streaming as a whole for video media is still failing. So, like, if you strike against Netflix, granted, like, their CEOs and top people are making more money than they should, the company is still failing.
Yeah.
So, like, you're striking against an industry that hasn't figured out how to be profitable yet. So both sides are kind of at a loss.
Like, yeah, you're asking for money that isn't there.
Yeah, and granted, the money's always there in the wrong person's hands.
Right.
The strike points have become about, like, AI likeness and, like, residuals, which is huge, but the residuals affect, like, less than 5% of actors. So, like, the other 95% of people striking are just trying to get better daily pay or better per diems, better, like, guaranteed breaks on 12-hour shifts, like unionish shit. So, like, the whole narrative of the strike has gotten very mixed up, and because of that, they are not coming to agreements anytime soon, and content has slowed down to a crawl. Like, there is not a lot getting done. The only good side of that is there could be, like, Taylor Swift may be an exception, but there could be a lot of independent film stuff. A lot of people that are doing stuff out of their own pocket or for the love of the game, and there could be a lot of cool underground random art shit that comes out. So
I know fucking Dropout they're still making shit because I guess they have their own
production company.
Yeah.
Going after a, like, spiritualist podcast could be really fun.
Yeah.
Like some wishy-washy bullshit, you know what I mean? Like the get in touch with your spiritual self. I feel like something like that we could have fun with. Or like an astrology podcast.
One's called Inner Work, run by someone with a PhD.
So they're dumb enough to go to college.
They're dumb enough to go to college.
What's the deal?
They had, was it 2,000 likes? Or 2,000, no, not even. It was 600 reviews on Spotify.
Okay, so that that might be punching up more than we think, because if they're getting 600 reviews, they're probably getting 60,000 plays a month. Yeah. What is it though? Because if it's a good fit, that
was Thunder. Okay,
that was a good Thunder.
Yeah, it was. Goddamn, it shook my whole fucking house. It was a spiritual. It's called Inner Work. It's a spiritual growth podcast.
Okay, let's put it on the list.
Inner Work.
Open my Google Notes. Okay. Possible targets.
Oh, let me also look at this when the last episode was. That's important too. Okay, yeah. They put out like one every few days.
Ooh,
and they're like 30-minute long.
I like an active enemy. And short, easy to splice and cut up out of context. Chip clamp, you know? I'm trying to find like lists, but I need to see. We need a good way to search. There's like new podcasts of the year or by genre, but I don't know how to sort by size. Let's see if there's a podcast search engine. Listen Notes. Okay. We're on Listen Notes.
I cannot believe that this podcast has 4,000 reviews. It's called Stars and Destruct.
Ooh.
New Age Spirituality. Each episode's a little bit different, but spirituality, divine feminism, the Sophia Code, God, spiritual music, healing mantras.
Dude, I can just... That sounds so fun. What is their name?
Stars and Destruct.
Nice.
Gender, wokeism, God, fame, and parenting.
Oh, yeah. We now the thing is that would be great because we could be the villain they want us to be. You know? What about Spiritual Birth with Pastor Robert Morris Ministries?
Oh, you had me a pastor.
I'm opening up some things. So Listen Notes, I think we can get more like curated the lists a little bit. Let's see. God, we're breaking so many podcast terms of service. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Dude, we actually are a very we're like a glass battering ram because if they want to strike back, we're pretty vulnerable.
So quick. Fuck us up immediately.
And that is how you end your own podcast.
That's how you get banned from Spotify.
But then we can crusade on freedom of speech and join like some Republican pact, you know.
What's his name? Alex Jones.
InfoWars is the only one that'll stand by the trash cats to their time of need.
Doesn't Marjorie Taylor Greene have a podcast now?
Yeah, she does have a show with Alex. It's pretty rough. God, I've listened to so many hours of that man. I despise him, but damn, he is a beautiful, ugly creature. That's for sure.
Like a bald ostrich. It can't.
One time he ate his
so bad, but you can't really look away.
One time he ate his neighbor's dog. He's claimed to have killed like 5 men.
Jesus Christ.
He's done like dude, I followed him for so long. Such a piece of shit. So funny. There's a great podcast called Knowledge Fight that covers every single episode of InfoWars in full, like a full critique review. That so far they've gone through 700 episodes, and I've listened to every one.
I kind of figure out more about what's going on with this podcast. Let me look at.
Are you talking about psychic insights of the modern world, or you got something else?
It's not psychic insights of the modern world, no. But write that one down.
Gotcha.
This one's called The Gilded Gentleman.
I've heard of that.
Have you? Because he only has 142 reviews on Spotify. The the Gilded Gentleman History Podcast takes listeners on a cultural and social journey into the mansions, salons, dining rooms, libraries, and theaters, including the worlds above as well as below. Stairs of America's Gilded Age, France's Belle Epoch, and the late Victorian and Edwardian England.
He sounds boring.
It sounds very boring.
I do think it could be really fun to talk about how stupid, like, his specific taste in architecture would be sometimes.
Yeah.
That postmodern crown molding is bullshit.
Yeah. Just take whatever he says and just
say the opposite.
Say the opposite, but not in like a well-constructed way. Just like, it fucking sucks. It's just
I feel like we'd actually have to know some stuff.
That's true Baroque fucking sucks balls.
Oh, what about the Daily Shot of Inspiration by Joe Longo?
Oh boy, it's a daily episode?
Let's see. That would be fun because each episode we could take his daily inspiration.
Take a week's worth of his content.
Tune in every day to the Daily Shot of Inspiration for a quick, uplifting dose of motivation and positivity. I don't think so, Joe Longo.
Or
not
you
if
can
I
turn
have
into
to say
the TrashCats only once a week. It will give you the full fucking scoop. We'll tell you everything he said and why it sucked.
God, dude, I'm so hyped. This is gonna be so much fun. All right, so I'm keeping. I got 15 million tabs open right now. Pastor Robert Morris Ministries on One Place. All right, let's see what this goob has to say. Pastor Robert Morris Ministries is this is a big one. Top 0.5% of all global podcasts. Television, radio, podcast ministries. The senior pastor of Gateway Church, a multi-campus church in Dallas-Worth, Fort Texas area. Biblical-based television programs. Airs in 190 countries. It's a lot of different bullshit in different languages. So fuck that, dude. Psychic Insights of a Modern World. This one's kind of big too. Intuition, psychic ability. You know you have it, but do you know how to access it? I don't think so. By Straw Hut Media. So this is a actual production company doing a psychic podcast. So they're full of shit.
There's Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World.
Do tell.
The description just says, "Beyond the world we can see is a mysterious world." And he has episodes such as Alien Apologetics with Emerson Green, Blood of Saint Januarius, and other patron questions. He has a lot of Bible stuff, some stuff about the Masons, helping stuck souls.
Ugh.
I can't really figure out this guy's deal.
I'm trying to search by like worst ratings. Like,
yeah.
How do I find new current podcasts, new or current, that aren't doing well? Small audience or medium. Like, there's always the best of lists, but how do I find the worst? Let's Google worst podcast 2023.
Oh, this is a good way to get humbled real quick.
Oh, the best worst podcast. Latest terrible podcast 2023. The worst podcast on Apple.
Who's making that list?
I don't know.
Who's like? Oh, there's actually an episode or a podcast called The Worst Podcast.
Yeah, that's what most is. Amazingly Terrible just came up. Random cartoons. Extra credit. No description. The internet isn't helping. Tampa Bay Terrible. It's Terrible and I Love It. The Gray Archives. Lucid Memory Edition. Welcome Gen Xers and Millennials and everyone else that likes to take nostalgic trips back to the 1990s. That sounds terrible. 1 star by Lauren Moliterno. What a terrible podcast name.
Oh, here's one. This one's called the No Ratings Pod. It's a safe space for a variety of voices to talk football, sport, and culture.
Ooh, please save that sound. I would love to go to war with a football podcast.
And I'm pretty sure they mean like soccer football because there's a lot of Spanish going on here.
We need a football. Like it's some dad.
Like an American dad cast.
Yeah, dude. We need to go to war with the dad cast. That'd be awesome. I wonder if we could do like a local Cincinnati football podcast. Let's go local, where it matters.
What dads have a podcast? And I'm going to spell it out for you. A dad with a football based podcast is
Cincinnati
either I was going to say a single father, but what I mean is a deadbeat dad who is no longer affiliated with the family and kids.
Dude, do you know how funny it would be to have like
his life already sucks, and if we push too hard, he's going to kill himself.
That's how we make a name for ourselves. But to have an on-site feud with a random dad
in Cincinnati.
That sounds so much fun. Like every gas station, you're like, am I going to see him today?
Yeah. Really starting fucking beef up there. We can't do that. We can do that with Cincinnati. We cannot do that with Detroit.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm not open to that idea in this area. Not saying Cincinnati doesn't get dirty, but
live dirty.
It's a lot of unexpected bullshit up here.
That is true. How do I search worst podcast?
You know, I remember last time we looked up Cincinnati podcasts, almost all of them are like about the Reds and about the Bengals.
Remember our boy Matt on the phone with Matt?
Oh yeah, on the phone with Matt. How is he doing?
He hasn't been uploading. I liked his show though. I don't think it was doing well, but he was cool. We actually talked to him. He just did like a one-man, which is hard as fuck. To just sit in front of the mic and like voice your thoughts alone.
Yeah, he fucking went for it.
It's hard as fuck. And he kept it going for a while. I liked Matt, but I don't think he's uploading.
The last episode of On the Phone with Matt is from November 2022. It's called Cigars and Skinwalkers. And then the one before that says Birthdays and Assholes.
I like all of that.
This week, Matt talks about how his mom ruined how he feels about his birthday, and then dives into how you shouldn't let anyone ruin who you are, and you should block them from your life.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Let's see what Sun Tzu has to say. On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up. The high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. I feel like that's relevant. Not sure how yet, but... We need to attack them right where on their supply lines. We need to go after their Ethernet connections and make them pay more to exist in the pod realm.
Shut down their Skype and their Discord servers.
Okay, we got a couple. Let's keep digging though. I really like the idea of a spiritual thing because it's in between philosophy and religion where I feel like we could have a field day with.
Boy, I gotta tell you, there's a lot of sports podcasts in Cincinnati.
I know how we find it.
How do we find it?
Reddit. We go to the same podcast promotion Reddit pages that I have tried to use that don't work, and we see who's posting new promos. Because if they're posting there, they don't have an audience, like a big audience. So let's go to let's see. What is the page? Podcast promo. Our podcast sharing on Reddit. Let's see. New posts. We have from 3 hours ago, Something in the Woods, episode 4, Childhood Stories. 3 hours ago, the Grindhouse Syndicate podcast. 5 hours ago, rapper BG out of jail. Who gives a shit? Go back to prison. there will be something here. Because this is just a shit ton of random small to medium sized podcasts that are like posting to get promotion. So they're surviving trauma to find new motivations, a new style of wellness. Trauma. No. That's lifestyle though. The Plumes cast?
Like for vapors?
I don't know. It's just called Plumes cast. This episode was titled Different After You. That sounds like a weak target though.
Oh, strictly anime.
God. I don't even think I could tolerate going to war with an anime podcast. That just sounds so
They would win. They have God and anime on their side.
Yeah, Naruto would come in and shut us down.
Fucking Rasengan on our ass.
Ooh, what about a family podcast? Like how to set goals for your kids. And we just your kids suck.
Go after a parenting podcast.
Did you see that YouTube mom this week?
No.
All right, there was an old YouTube channel called like Daddy of 5, and it was like a huge YouTube like family vlog kind of deal, and the dude literally beat his kids on YouTube like regularly.
Oh shit.
To the point there were like hundreds of thousands of people that signed petitions for Child Family Service to get involved, and eventually he goes to prison. This week there was another YouTube channel. It's really big with Mormon families where they do a YouTube vlog about family life and how they raise their kids. And it's like the parents that have like 8 kids type shit, like the Octomom kind of shit. And this Mormon YouTuber, I think her audience was like between 1 and 5 million subscribers. And her whole thing was about how to raise your Mormon children. One of her kids escaped from a closet in which he was duct taped in.
Oh, I did see that actually.
Yeah.
Oh my
going
God.
to prison. Yeah, they abuse the fuck out of those kids. And it's some YouTube, like you can watch them their whole, like these kids' whole life growing up on YouTube. It's so fucking creepy. It's like, who the fuck is watching that shit? And it's like, of course, the type of mom that like records all that shit, like, of course they're abusing their kids. Like, it's so fucked up to begin with.
I have I'd like to submit to the list, the Deer Shot podcast.
I just scrolled past that too.
They're from out of Ohio.
Ooh, okay. All right, so let's see where we're at. I don't think any of these are right, but this is good direction. We're probably not gonna. The biggest part of this war is picking the right podcast. So
yeah, I'm scrolled down pretty far, and we're still just from 2 days ago. So
yeah. So right now, in our sites, we got Inner Work, Stars and Destruct, Deer Shot. We haven't done a deep dive on any, but we're going to. Jersey Boy Lovers.
Oh yeah, well, tell me more about that one.
It's comedy though. It's like 6 people on a live mic. All right, we're scrolling, doom scrolling. Therapy Nuggets, the Pillars of Life podcast. How to Stop Worrying. Dude, I'm like so excited. It sounds so much fun.
The Waffle Olympics.
Ew, gross.
It sounds like what they do is bring up topics and then like they waffle on those topics, or like they're on the fence about a lot of shit.
Honestly, that sounds respectable.
It sounds like something that you hate. That sounds like something that if you don't pick a side.
Oh, true.
If you don't commit to a thing, that you're a fucking idiot.
if they're devil's advocating, like both sides in it,
yeah, that might be true.
Curiosity, that's fun. It would be fun if we get it down to a couple and then we make our cats pick.
Just have some cue cards on the floor and have them step on the one. Yeah.
Catnip them all and see which one it goes to. Oh, what about like a celebrity thing, like a Jason Statham podcast?
Jason Statham as a podcast?
I don't know. This one looked like it interviewed him, but like, imagine if it was just like a random celebrity that, they all do podcasts now, but half of them aren't very successful. Like, it was a random, like athlete or, like, random singer that had, like, some mediocre podcast. Like, I feel like something like that where, like, their name is big, but their community isn't very strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of vulnerability we could exploit.
True.
The Midas Touch podcast. I just hit Waffle Olympics.
Yeah.
I gotta get ahead of you a little bit.
I purposely scrolled down a little bit.
Gotcha.
The Whitewash podcast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
2 sibs in a pod.
Yeah.
2 adult siblings, 14 years apart.
Oh, good. No, that sounds gross.
The Daily Healing Pod. Oh, fuck. Healing artist and Reiki master.
Oh, cool.
Britt Michelin hosts the Daily Healing Podcast, a daily healing practice for soulful wellness enthusiasts. See, I feel like something in that vein we could like go hard on. The Sports Doctor. That's medical.
There's
bullshit.
nothing in here about the Whitewash podcast. They have one episode up. It says it's a commentary podcast, life, politics, work, guest interviews, and more. They have one episode up. They have 2 reviews. And the only episode that's up says, this episode is just a demo, like a startup for the podcast. Please enjoy and stay washy.
Mm. They're not even committed to what they do yet.
I mean, it just went up a few days. It went up on the 23rd of August.
Did they upload with one half-cooked episode?
I mean,
they ain't committed.
It's a 33-minute.
They have no idea what they're doing.
They're obviously.
Amateurs.
It does say it's a comedy podcast.
Yeah, I feel like we can't do comedy.
But also, we're under arts and we're under like arts or whatever the fuck.
Culture. Yeah.
Arts and culture. The Gamer's Edge podcast.
Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. And if it was a better fit, I would go for it. But I honestly don't think it is. I found out recently my Republican uncle has a podcast. But it's too boring. Like, his takes are like, I thought he was going to be more extreme, but his takes are more like, those damn Democrats don't believe in God and seatbelt laws in Columbus are bad. Like, it's like actually like full blog posts about like seatbelts in the country.
Well, wear my seatbelt.
Yeah, basically, it's like, well, that's not fun. Like, I was expecting something edgier.
Sir, this is a nothing sandwich.
Yeah,
it's a fringe. We have fringe science.
This I'm not gonna lie. This is harder than I thought. I knew this was gonna be the hard part, though. Yeah. And like I said, we might not settle it today, but I think this is what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to go to war with some faith-based Bible study podcast. Okay. My podcast, Lyric and Letter, takes worship songs and reverse engineers them into Bible studies to dive deeper into God's Word and make songs become more alive to those who sing them. Oh boy, let's go to this Apple podcast page. I hope they're covering like modern songs. Reverse engineer worship songs to explore their biblical foundations, and the special edition hosts Rebecca Lane delves into the song Gratitude by Brandon Lake, breaking down its lyrics to uncover the scripture that brings it to life. Now that could be kind of fun because we have written lyrics we can abuse. Podcast website. Oh, John 4:24. Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, shit.
Let's hear this. Let's get a little taste test. I don't know if the mic will pick this up or not. But, fucking Apple never loads. Letter.
I accidentally found a podcast I want to listen to. It's called Millennial Pink. This is episode 15. They want yo paycheck, yo kidney, ain't nothing safe.
Okay.
And it says, Granddad wants my kidney, girl.
Consider me subscribed. 5 stars based off the description alone. Holy shit. All right, I'm going to see if the microphone picks this up. I don't know. Let's see. What episode do you want? They got 10 episodes and 2 reviews.
That sounds pretty fucking good. Let's roll the dice. Let's pick lucky number 7.
Okay. Let's see. Episode 7. Be daring like David. Step into a world of inspiration and courage with our latest episode, Be Daring with David. Let's see what David has.
Welcome back to Lyric and Letter, where we deep dive into the lyrics of our favorite worship songs and study the scriptures and meanings behind them. Today, we are knee-deep in the song Same God by Elevation Worship. There's so much richness within the lyrics that we could not contain it within a few episodes. So today, we are continuing our study by analyzing verse 4. Now, if you haven't had a chance to listen, go on to our Spotify.
Verse 4 of one single song?
Yeah. They do line by line lyric breakdowns of gospel songs.
So it's Rap Genius for...
I'm calling on the God of David.
Oh, shit.
Who made a shepherd boy courageous.
Gross.
I may not face Goliath, but I've got my own giants. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we'll be the giants.
Put your trays in the upright and locked position.
We're blasting off into the atmosphere.
Amazing flight. Let's start by diving into David's life.
There's something there we could do. I don't think it's the perfect target. Could be fun to go through Bible songs, though.
Yeah.
She's got good charisma. Give her that.
This one's been taken down by YouTube.
Straight.
Inside the Man Cave it's spelled podcast wrong. Inside the Man Cave Podcast Show.
See, I would love a Man Cave podcast. Like, I feel like that's who we're young, virile, strong men. We should be going after weak old dads.
I 100% agree with you on that.
So do you want to look up like Cincinnati dad podcasts?
I mean, if you just type in Cincinnati podcasts, all of the ones that come up are dad podcasts.
Like, this is my Final Fantasy team.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are like have very successful YouTube channels because they just post clips of the Bengals.
Yeah. All right.
And they did really good last year.
Pillars? Pillars of Life podcast. Let's see. How to Stop Worrying. A simple technique from the Pillars of Life. Isn't it crazy how many podcasts there are?
Yes.
But over 90% fail or stop posting within the first 4 weeks.
I've just found one. It's called Stories Inside the Man Cave.
Hello. Okay, can we pull that up? I'll play this after.
Yeah. So this one, I'm trying to find any reviews, but there's nothing. But they do have 287 episodes.
That's good.
But here's the thing: is I can't see how I don't see how long they are. But they have multiple episodes from like the same day.
Short's fine if
they have
current.
They have 3 of them out from September 5th alone. This one's 46 minutes.
What was the name?
Stories Inside the Man Cave.
Dude, that sounds so good. Going after a men's activist podcast would be so cool.
I mean, here's the description. Everyone has their own stories from their man cave. These are our stories, along with guest appearances by names you may know. 3 guys from Austin, Texas, with different backgrounds. Sean Clinch is the retired 21-year sportscasting veteran turned pharmaceutical salesman. Mike Murphy is the owner-operator of Last Stand Hats. Coach Maurice Harris is the owner-operator of Coach Mo's Elite Fitness.
That sounds so good. I'm sorry. Give it to me word by word. One more Stories inside the man cave. Ew, God, pervert.
It sounds kind of gross.
Okay, this is Oh, they are active.
They are active, and they release multiple episodes in like a single day, and then go a couple days and release 2 more episodes.
Nice.
They are. I'm trying to go back to. Of course, when do you think they started their podcast, Steven? Take a wild guess. When do you think they started making podcasts?
I don't know.
March 2020.
What, is that significant?
That's when fucking COVID hit.
Okay, gotcha.
That's when everybody started their podcast.
Yeah.
If you didn't have it for 10 years running, that's when you started it.
Yeah. We kind of did that, but we were both working. I feel like it was more by chance. Or like, I don't think COVID affected our decisions, but we were probably in that time period.
We were in October or so of that year when we were thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was living at this place. I'm gonna pick an episode. Let's see what they sound. On the Deck at Dish with Harge. Oh, it's installment 2. Installment 23. Okay, I'm just picking a random one.
Yeah.
Wake your ass up and take a damn nap.
And we're the 3 best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Oh, God.
I mean, Sean, you're twerking. That's gonna happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
This is one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Well, it's terrible recording.
Yeah, it is.
That's it.
We need something with better audio. Holy shit.
Do we though? Does it matter if the audio sucks if they have a decent fan base?
I think you gave me the sell though. I'm looking at Men's Rights Podcast 2023. American Hysteria Men's Rights on Apple Podcasts. The top 100 best men's podcasts of 2023. Boy. Here we go, dude. Let's see what these fucking losers are up to. Okay, that one is actually about a man that murdered a bunch of women.
Cool.
What's a men's rights podcast?
Well, he needs rights too, Steven.
It's my right to murder women. Jesus. Ooh, the Order of Man. We are reclaiming what it means to be a man. Elite athletes, warriors, and more. Ooh, yeah. Their logo, 2 axes.
Oh, great.
What a great name. Order of Man. It's like, what order do you want these men in? Listen to our podcast to find out.
Ass to mouth?
Or mouth to ass. Find out now.
Find out now. Absolutely.
Oh, shit. They do the culty letter shit. The KUL, Kavolt. You know what I mean?
No.
Like the Norwegic shit.
Oh, like the runes or whatever?
Yeah, there's a bit of that vibe where they might be
white supremacists. Yeah.
Let's listen to how a man builds boundaries. Let's go, bro.
You're a man of action. You live life to the fullest.
Oh shit!
Fears and boldly chart your own path. When life knocks you down,
I'm hyped.
Back up one more time. Every time.
Every
Not
time.
easily deterred, defeated, rugged, resilient,
Ooh.
strong. This is your life. This is who you are.
Be a real buff, beefy man, so you can make friends with other big, buff, beefy men.
The cover is a big bearded lumberjack. Ooh, this episode, hot title, relationship with new stepdaughter. Okay, let's go.
Oh, boy.
You're a man of action.
Oh, this is the intro still. Holy
Embrace
shit.
your fears.
Let's get into the meat
At
of
the
it.
end of the day,
You told me like a couple, which was nice, and there was a. It was a combination. No, we went to Ecuador for 3 weeks. My daughter and I. Yeah,
Awesome.
It was a humanitarian thing. It was really
Whoa.
cool. We helped build a school for special needs kids, which was nice, and there was a good spiritual aspect.
And he fell in love with his stepdaughter while he was.
And I'm assuming that was a great opportunity for just the two of you to do a trip on your own
This is
without
skep
the whole
as
family.
fuck.
This is so fun.
Yeah, it was a good bonding experience for us, and it was
What's it called? Order of Man?
post graduation.
Yeah. Okay, I put it on
as
the.
well. Good excuse for me
With
to
Ryan
get out with just
Mitchell.
her, and man, it was so cool. And then we got back and went straight to Las Vegas at a convention in Las Vegas that she went with us also, and it was the first time she went to anything like that. Kind of taking notes to learn business,
dude.
and instead of just being there and kind of like wanting to do
and being annoyed that
her
she
own
has
thing.
to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Interesting. I'll add it to the list.
I put it on there already.
Cool. I feel like there's some potential there. I would feel bad though. I feel like sometimes these things, like they might be well-intentioned dudes and it just comes off a little weird. But it's really hard to tell. It's
really fucking, it's walking that line, isn't it?
It's walking that line. Because what if like his daughter comes on and it actually is like a nice trip they shared? But it just doesn't sound that way when you're like talking to your buddy about it like that. I don't know. There's on a podcast. It just feels strange.
Yeah.
This episode, Tim Ballard, eradicating child sex trafficking.
When the theme of the podcast is a men's rights thing.
Yeah. This is weird. Now this, because men's podcasts in general, like men's rights, red pill shit, typically is like the worst of the worst. Like, fuck women, we're better than them, open relationships, but only for the man, women are garbage. It's normally that vibe. He does have like a dealing with anger episode, which is like better than 90% of like men's bullshit. So the verdict's not in yet, but we'll investigate the Order of Man. Now we got Elite Man magazine.
Ooh,
the world's leading authority in self-development. Dude, I hate the men's like fashion shit. Like business fashion. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they're like showing up, like they like show off their outfits of like dress shoes.
Yeah. Yes.
Like this leather belt was $1,000.
Yeah, so it's like
it was so expensive, but it works perfect with this tie when I go to Wall Street.
Yeah, it worked with the $3,000 tie.
We got the Man Project.
You need to take out a loan. You need to get a mortgage on your house so you can, or not get a mortgage on your house. Get a what do they call that? Refinance your house and then pull out a loan so you can buy a fucking $2,000 suits at least.
You gotta leverage your assets, bro. How else are you gonna get to the top of the stock market?
Yeah. You may not be going to the Wall Street floor, but you are going to Wall Street digitally on your phone on the app that you trade stocks on.
Did you already list this one? The You Good Bruh?
No.
It's a place for men to talk about their feelings, which either could be really good or really bad.
Yeah.
A convo with the most blessed man
I just don't
alive.
understand why she won't make me a sandwich. Listen, if you want to be a real Sigma man, if she's not making you if you don't have a woman making you a sandwich, then you don't eat. Because a real Sigma man would starve before they make their own meal.
Leading leaders. I grew up without a father figure in my life, but I started studying leadership on my own when I was a soldier at 20. Oh, fuck.
Oh, man. And he's a vet?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I love trash and vets. Just point me and I'll go there with a gun.
Yeah.
I want to fight so my kids don't have to. That's always my favorite one. I choose to fight so my kids wouldn't have to. Like, shut the fuck up.
But also, my dad went to war, and his dad went to war.
All the men of my entire family tree are dead.
All my family has gone to war, but I'm going to war so my kids don't have to. they've all died and experience extreme PTSD. But I'm gonna go and make a difference.
Ooh, this one's got art in the title, The Art of Masculinity. Oh man, we got more Celtic symbols and double axe logo.
I'm sensing a trend.
Oh god, that's so fucking funny.
White American dudes that are way too into Nordic shit.
It's the worst.
It's a rough one. It's worse than, I will say it's worse than the white American dudes that are way too into Japanese shit.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm along that line.
See, but
I definitely fall into that line. But I feel like there's definitely a level where it's like, okay, I'm not doing shit like that.
But between the both of us, we're probably into little bits of like all kinds of like the lame shit. But you have to temper it. You can't be too into a Viking thing.
It can't be your entire brand.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like with the white dudes, like you said, like immediately both of us were like, oh, that's white supremacy shit.
Yeah.
It's obviously
90% of the time.
This became a thing where people were
the misconception of the beta male
as beta, but that's like your number 2 in command.
He could go 2 ways with
Batman
this.
and Robin, that's your Robin. Still pretty fucking badass in his own right. People who actually haven't looked into the definition.
Oh, he's given beta props.
He's saying good things about these beta cucks.
Deteriorated value for that other person because you feel insecure about yourself and you're not actually a true alpha.
Oh. Nice base.
Johnny Elsasser, and I'm a former Special Operations U.S. Army Ranger, tactical commander to the U.S. Ambassador's Protective Detail. I have seen the struggle even the most hardened men have faced when they confront their inner demons, and I am here to shine a light on those struggles to show that no man is exempt from adversity and internal pain.
Fuck yeah.
All walks of life share their stories of hardship, darkness, and perseverance.
Let's skip ahead.
The art of who has no actual authority within the social structure is referred to as an omega, right? And then
oh man, he's all in on it.
Oh yeah, he's going into it.
He's got some astral tattoos, pretty cool. Man, dude, it's exhausting. What about the mojo of the modern man?
Is that the name of a full podcast?
Yeah, this one's called
The Mojo?
Mojo for the Modern Man.
Oh, God.
I bet if you type...
Is that like a dating thing?
I don't know yet. But I bet if you type in Modern Man on Spotify, you get easily over 5,000 results.
Jesus.
Dustin DeVeers, way more to the story than software and cancer. The Law of Spiritual Callings in Warrior School, Act 1. Okay, should we start with Act 1?
Sure, yeah.
Cat, don't eat my quartz. I think we're on to something now.
Oh, The Beard Speaks.
Play a clip, brother.
Well, they have episodes such as Sound of Freedom, Father's Rights, Real Country, Real Lyrics, Real Soul.
Okay, what's it called? I'm going to play.
The Beard Speaks.
That sounds perfect. Because that's like Republican men shit. The Beard Speaks podcast, and podcast is in quotes like it's not a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh shit, The Sound of Freedom is that Republican documentary too. Oh shit, we got Father's Right and Sound of Freedom. Let's hear it. The plane is just, or the intro is just a plane. Oh my god! Is that AC/DC?
Yeah. Music, health, religion, beards, sports, movies, comic books, fatherhood, motorcycles, guitars, man shit.
Man shit. Oh, that's the intro.
It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough.
That's Sylvester Stallone.
Beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how you get up. Get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Oh, what a hot take, man.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the road with Corey Farley, man. What a great episode that was.
Well,
if you haven't had a chance yet for
that's a rich
2 years,
voice.
Man, thank you to a serious Spotify Google.
Come on.
Again, you know.
Talk that shit, man.
You don't really get the idea of how big this is. You really don't. Unless you watch this movie and see
Okay, I found another
just
one.
thousands and
The
thousands of
Unapologetic
kids
Man podcast.
Oh, God.
for child trafficking, you know.
I ain't gonna be sorry for being a man.
Like I said, it's disturbing. They end up in, parts of the world that you just, it's sick.
Okay, that dude in 1 minute did not say a single thing. He just babbled into his beat. Like, bro,
didn't.
you have to talk to someone besides your beard once in a while. Okay, the Unapologetic Man podcast, 4.6 out of 5 star average with 2K reviews. So pretty big. Latest episode, where to go to meet girls. 25 killer ideas from the Unapologetic Man.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Man
I love this shit. Sounds like some little nerd. Love that hard rock, bro.
What is up, you goddamn champions? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the UMP. I really do appreciate it. And today, we are going to talk about good places to meet girls. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, dude, let us know. Where are they at?
Meet girls.
Can never find them.
They're freaking everywhere, every single place. The real question is, are you approaching them? Do you know how to approach them? Do you know what to talk about? Is your frame strong enough where you can...
This is making the list.
Yes, it is.
That's the better question. But I know a lot of you guys still feel like you don't know where to meet them, which is really funny to me because, again, they're everywhere. Like, literally every other human being
everywhere
on the earth is a freaking female, unless you believe in all that gender fluidity bullshit.
Oh, boy.
Boys have girls generally, and there's freaking 10 billion people on the earth, something like that. So, come on, boys. Think outside the box.
Come on, boys.
Give you some ideas, but generally speaking, you should be talking to girls everywhere you go. Literally, gas stations, supermarkets, Starbucks, Jamba Juice, freaking...
Just sexually abuse women every chance you can get.
Yeah, whenever you go in a place and there's a woman behind the counter, go into a Jamba Juice and talk to the employee who obviously they're smiling at you and they're very nice and pretty, and that means if they're nice to you and they take your order and make you a juice, that means they want to fuck.
Obviously.
All
right, I got one. So we're not going to solve this problem tonight, but I think we've made progress. I got one more. Do you know what time it is?
Oh boy, it is 10:40.
Yeah, no, we can go. This one is the Hard Men podcast. Recovering biblical masculinity in a world of softness. Dude, this sounds perfect, dude. A biblical strongman thing. Be so... The Hard Men podcast.
Is it like when you say thinking? Biblical strong? Are you talking about like the dudes that go up and do like rip phone books and shit?
No, like strengthen your biblical masculinity.
Oh, okay.
This is some like religious.
How to love Jesus more than anyone else, but it's not gay that you love a dude more than anyone else.
Exactly. Oh, okay. We got an episode titled "What Should We Think About Women in Sports?" This would be perfect. In the Title IX Women's Lib area, it's a cultural given that women should participate in sports.
Salt and Strings Butchery in Southern Illinois.
Nice.
Order your custom beef today by visiting saltandstrings.com or use the link in the show notes. This episode is also brought to you by Barbell Logic. Both were commanding athletes. Caitlin, a U.S. track cyclist, was a
Caitlyn Jenner, cool.
Olympic silver medalist.
Do that again.
And Suter, a snowboarder, was tipped to be one of Team Great Britain's strongest contenders for the 2022 Mathematics and Science is seen as girls missing out on. According to the authors, beyond the health benefits of exercise, not participating in sports has negative effects on a woman's confidence and self-esteem. Instead of heading to the ball field, these girls are forced into quote-unquote oppressive activities like learning to cook, maintaining a household, and tending to family responsibilities. There's an underlying assumption that the only way for girls to gain confidence is, well, to act like men, and to do the things that men are doing. Being distinctly feminine, on the other hand, is oppressive and apparently confidence-shattering. But what if girls play sports less because their nature better suits them to the nurturing roles of motherhood and home rather than the intense combat-like environment of many male sports? What if men are by nature
the combat-like environment of professional baseball?
Yeah, right. I could tell he was about to say a bunch of sexist shit, but he wasn't really. I feel like for a podcast about being like a strong man who's unapologetic, I feel like most of those type of podcasts, they pull their punches because they all have sponsors and shit. And they don't want to be like outright like shitty, but they all. It's
well,
like
that's
all
the
like,
first topic to call them on.
What's that? Oh, just being weak.
I mean, if we were to attack them, then that's a first hit area of
like if you were a men's right podcast and you actually did hate women or you believe like they shouldn't vote or aren't equal, like, and you're not saying it, then you actually are a double piece of shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you have topics like that are like, oh, this is a men's rights podcast. Generally the people that are following that are the people that are like, women can't have rights because if women have rights, and that means we lose rights. That means like if we can't just both have rights. It doesn't work that way. We can't do that.
I get both sides of it. The true thing generally is any guy into that shit is insecure and hates women. If I'm empathetic to them, I think they're insecure and are looking for a group of other men to be supportive. And I think there's like a lot of young men that are lost in not knowing, like, because they feel overlooked and that women get treated better than them. I think a lot of dudes are like lonely and feel forgotten. I don't feel that way at all.
If we're gonna do some Sun Tzu shit, we should take a page out of the book of we should learn from our enemies and do what the church does and go after people who are vulnerable. So by going after their listener base, them and their listener base.
That actually is an area where you could win people because the type of people who are listening are looking for people to give a path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right, add that to the list. Hard Men Podcast. Now, I feel like before we close this out unresolved, the Hard Men Podcast. I feel like we need to set
It's
some
definitely
sort
going to be
of...
the funniest one to say.
It would be, just every time funny. We need some sort of follow-up on this so it's not just like a funny thought. I don't think I feel like within 2 weeks we should know.
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 episodes from now?
Agreed.
Dear Trash Cats, we will have something in mind. And then we can flesh out what our strategy would be, because we need a plan of attack, whether it's every episode they put out, we find one really stupid thing they say and broadcast it with their audience attached, or we devote X amount of time covering their bad takes, or we spend time on their social media, like on every post we're there, like something. We just need a good strategy.
Yeah. This is the time more now than we ever have needed it before. If you have, suggestions, any kind of recommendations, any direction, something you want to point us into, a new target if you're, so inclined, reach out. Fucking hit us up on Instagram or some shit.
We'll put a little, question and like a poll thing on the episode. If you have any suggestions, let us know. And if you happen to, want to buff us up in the stats, give us a rating, because right now, there's an advantage to looking weaker than you are, because right now we have a 5-star average of 5 reviews on Spotify. So if someone wants to be our 6th review,
yeah,
feel free. I'm excited though, dude. This will be fun. Nice little
there's
side
more than
project.
6 people that listen. We know that for a fact.
There's a couple more. This will be fun.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Good night, dear Trash Cats. Appreciate you guys. We will have our target soon 2 weeks, and then we'll have a battle plan.
Fuck yeah. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, Sean.
Make sure to check out the show page at TrashCats on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZXDX. I just put up that, what did I call it? Raspberry Blight.
The fucking Candyland extension.
Those ones are hard for me when they're bright white because I normally do high contrast dark colors, so it's so hard to get like for people at photography or whatever, like the proper white balance on a super bright piece. But I think that one turned out good.
It's like a fissure opened up in the land of Oz and brought with it darkness.
You only unlock that part of the map when you eat 10,000. What was it? Gumdrops.
Yeah. You have to eat the lollipop kid.
Appreciate you guys sticking around. Fun stuff ahead. We'll probably circle back to that art sales manipulation commodification stuff. It sounds dry, but it's actually super interesting.
Fuck yeah, that's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.